All right, folks, welcome into another great episode of I've Got a Theory with Henish. Today, my guest is Molly Odell, and she's in the business with me. She does our escrows and does a great job as a partner for my real estate company. But we're
Thank
not
you.
going to talk about real estate, and we're not going to talk about business or market updates. Congratulations on your new baby, and I think it resulted in you having a theory for you to share with us.
Yes, after having our little girl, I definitely thought, had this mindset that I was going to have everything at my fingertips. But my theory is that mothers now are less prepared to have children than they have ever been before.
Okay, tell me more. Why do you think that?
So, really, in the past, the Stone Age, back in the day, you had advice from your mom before you, correct? So, your mom told you how to bake a chicken, how to knit something, how to milk the cow. You were taught these home ec things, right? And as our parents, aged up in middle school, high school, they had these home ec courses. Because of those things, or in result of those things, instead of our mothers teaching us basic life skills or gender specific skills, they now gave us women empowerment. So you can be whatever you want. So my mom in particular would allow me to chase my dreams. So rather than me playing with Barbie dolls or playing with baby dolls, like in the past, I was outside playing Legos with my brother, or I was outside riding a bike because it wasn't gender specific, right?
Yeah.
So I think women now, we have these babies and we go along and we prepare for, our work, we prepare to juggle all these things. And because of that, because we were trained in this now division of, you can do anything, we're now missing the roles of this is how you simply breastfeed. This is how you change a diaper. We think that we're just going to figure it out. So I think it is really ill-prepared women to becoming moms. And now we have phones at our fingertips, so we can Google anything, right?
Yep.
You don't have those basic skills. And then on top of it, this is even deeper into it, we now are moving further away from our parents to follow our dreams. Not just women, but women and men are moving away from their small hometowns to follow these big dreams in bigger cities, or maybe a job opportunity. I live an hour away from my parents, and you don't have that sense of community. So where women in the past, you lived, a carriage ride away from your family. So your mom could come over, your aunt could come over, your cousins, everybody raised a baby together. Now these women are isolated on their own, and they're responsible to raise this child alone.
Okay, so let me give you the flip side of this, and this is just me playing devil's advocate because I think your theory is valid, but I also think that there's an awareness aspect of this as well, right? So you're sitting there on your phone in between nap times and trying to take a little break, and you're seeing all these different mom groups online and what the other people are doing. So you're getting the awareness of all these moms that seem to have their shit together, and they're like, oh man, they're doing it so much better than me. Why am I failing? How come I'm not prepared for this? So is it also possible that you think that because you've got a confirmation bias, because you see the super moms out there that have a bunch of kids and they seem like they have it together and they got their hair done and they put on a dress today instead of just wearing sweatpants, and you're like, what I'm doing this wrong, no one prepared me, and this mom has got it figured out? Or are you really just adequately prepared? Because one of the things now, being a father of three and my wife having 3 kids, what we found is that we were potentially harder on ourselves than we needed to be. Like, we were more cautious, and we didn't have our families nearby either for our first one. They were a plane flight away, so no one was there to help us. And then the family we had in town didn't have kids, so they didn't know either. So we did have to figure it out ourselves. And I remember being harder on ourselves for the first ones than the ones afterwards. 1, because of practice and experience, and 2, because we didn't have to compare with anyone, so there's that angle of it too. What do you think?
I 1,000,000% agree. I mean, in the middle of feeding, or the brief moment that I get to myself, I'm definitely on Instagram looking at these moms, trying to find the mommy and me matching outfits, and the comparison aspect is definitely there. I also do believe, though, that there's a level of transparency that people are now starting to get on social media. I think for the past 15 years that social media has been there, people are trying to put on an appearance, but now people are being more vulnerable. I'm seeing more people in the middle of the night being like, God dang it, my son won't sleep, and now we've been up for 4 hours. So it makes me feel more involved and more relatable to these other moms. But I mean, there is an aspect of, let's be honest, it's beautiful in sunny San Diego right now. I want to put on a bathing suit right now. My postpartum party does not want to put on a bathing suit. However, I saw a girl that had a baby a week before me and she's already in a bikini. So it's like there is that aspect of, competition and judging yourself. But I don't think nobody's sitting there on these mom groups or on their Instagram being like, hey, if your baby can't latch when you breastfeed, make sure you do this. So I think although we have the accessibility, because of the wall that people want to put up, they're not giving you the education that you need unless you're reaching out.
So what can we do differently? So, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. No one's going to be moving back into their parents on a nationwide cultural level, right? So how do you prepare the next generation, even for moms that are having babies next month, next year, next 10 years, next 20 years? Is there a shift where we can get them to feel more comfortable and prepared for motherhood, for parenthood in general?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm on week 8. I'd like to tell you I know it all now, but I don't. I think there's just this lack of, although we have everything, like I said, at our fingertips, I researched, everything I needed for the nursery 8 times over. I researched the baby mattress. I'm not kidding you, for 3 weeks before I pulled the trigger on anything. You know what I didn't research? I didn't research how much my life was going to change. I've worked very, very hard on my career. I worked very hard to have my identity. And nobody told me to prepare to have that all gone.
Yeah.
And how to change that. So I think now there's going to be a shift in women. I think for so long we were on the "We Are Women, Hear Us" roar. But also, and they focus on their business and we focus on being driven in this aspect. There's also a big part of that is I am woman, hear me roar. I can birth a baby. I can be a boss mom and I can be a boss lady at work.
Right.
So right. I think we're going to have to almost go back to our roots and educate, I'm going to educate her that yes, you will work your butt off for your whole entire life. You will have a great job and you will make your own money. But when you become a mom, this is how you handle it. And this is how you do it. So maybe it's this next generation of blending what our moms taught us and what their moms taught us to being these new superhumans. Because I love you, Henish, and I love men in general. I couldn't have had a baby without one. But women are the superior gender 1,000%. So just wait till your kids and our kids get what my mom taught me and what their mom taught. Oh, they're going to be unstoppable.
I mean, I think that's a good point, because back a couple generations ago, women were taught to be moms and good wives, and they weren't taught to be professionals. And then that made a course correction 180 degrees and said, hey, don't worry about washing the dishes and doing laundry. That, that's for your maid that you hire, because you're going to be a boss lady, right?
Yep,
and you're going to have a career, and you're going to go to college, and you're going to be a big shot. And then they forgot that other aspect of it. I'm a little bit older than you, but I remember going to college in the late 90s, early 2000s. And one year I lived with 5 girls that were friends of mine and one other guy. And those girls had your same type of upbringing, where their parents taught them to go get good grades, work hard, get to a good college that we were all at. And when we were living together, none of them knew how to cook food, run the dishwasher, how the proper dishwashing soap worked, how to properly do laundry, because their moms did all that for them. And then they were stuck here at college trying to adjust. And I'm having to put out fires because someone put the whole stick of butter with the aluminum foil into the microwave because they didn't know that they couldn't do that.
See, I think there's definitely just something. I think that's going to have to be another 180 switch. Let's not go back to telling our kids to go churn butter in the backyard and that women belong in the kitchen, because I will disagree with that wholeheartedly. But let's teach them that it's okay. I mean, I love cooking for my family every night. I love keeping a clean house. I like having that 50-50 angle. And I wish somebody would have told me that you can have it all.
Yeah.
And, this is how you're going to do it. And my mom's great. I am not saying anything ill about her. She's amazing. I call her all the time. Is this poop normal? Should I be changing a diaper this much? I call her all the time. And she's willing to give me that information. But she did raise me that this wasn't my only job, that I could do everything.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a little bit of a 50-50, let's mix the two, and let's raise this generation to be more prepared to be moms and more prepared to run a company.
I mean, it's that training and the expectations. It's interesting because, until men have their own babies, it's very unlikely they'd have ever changed anyone else's diaper.
Oh,
right?
100%.
I know I didn't. Before I had my own, I've never changed a baby. But now if someone's around with a baby that needs changing, I'm like, yeah, give me that baby. I'll take care of it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just take it. I'll change a diaper. No big deal. I got it under control because had hundreds of diaper changing experiences. But now I joke with my son, who's, a little over 5 years old. I'm like, hey, are you ready to start changing these diapers yet? He's like, I don't know how to. I was like, all right, well, just be prepared because I'm going to be teaching you how to do this because I need you to learn how to do this stuff now.
See, and maybe that's the point also is let's teach men the same things. I mean, there's so many stay-at-home dads now. It's a little bit different right now because of the quarantine going on and all that stuff. But there's dads out walking their babies. And 20 years ago, you would have never seen a stay-at-home dad unless, he would have had some stereotype wrapped around him and probably been the laughing stock of the neighborhood. Now that's normal. Right. So maybe it needs to be a 50-50 education on the women's part. And just like you're doing with your son, it's okay for them to clean the house. And it's okay for him to be the one that's, bottle feeding or diaper changing and all that too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how, as we go through this cultural shift, because, what's to say in 5-10 years, we don't have robots in our house that are helping us with this stuff too, so maybe we can shift away from it again. Probably not. I think ultimately it's going to come back to humans because wiping a butt is a highly technical job to do it properly.
Thank you for telling me that. I now feel like I've had an accomplished day because other than this meeting, all I've done is wipe butts all day. Thank you for making me feel like I did something highly technical today.
Understood. Honestly, all these kids that have all their folds and crevices, and I'm like, man, I really got to make sure because I don't want a bacterial infection on here on my watch. Not with me.
No.
I'll get that extra wipe and make sure we're getting it. We go over and above, and a lot of times we wash the kids multiple times a day, which probably is overkill. But I'm like, well, that's what I'd want on me if it was me. And that was, give me a good wash, please.
Exactly. Wipe me down and let's go again.
Yeah. So okay, interesting theory. It's interesting because you probably never thought of that before you had your own kid. You probably thought maybe I am kind of prepared for this until you have it. Then you realize how much you didn't know.
I think that women are told that the second this baby comes out of you, some kind of superhuman rush is going to come over you of maternal instincts and you're going to know what to do and don't worry about it. And I thought that was going to happen to me. And the second the baby came out, I looked at her and I loved her. And there was nothing I'd want to do on the face of earth. But nobody baptized me with mom superpowers.
Yeah.
I had to, sit there in the bed. And I was so thankful for a lactation consultant to come in. And, it's also that I thought I knew everything. Oh, I got this.
You read the books.
Yeah, I know it all. I got this. And so when the lady came in, and another form of it, we're told, figure it all out in life. You've got this. So when somebody came in to offer me advice, I heard it, I listened to it, but I also didn't want to ask any additional questions.
Yeah.
I know it all. I got this. I'm supposed to know. It's supposed to rush over me. And here I am at 2:00 in the morning as I'm feeding her, being like, should she be doing this? Should I be feeding on both? I don't know what I'm, what kind of sensory toy should I be giving her at 8 weeks old?
Right.
I did definitely have a new respect for women and a new respect for people, 50 years ago that they didn't have these devices that they could Google all this because Google's saving my life. I think I Google 80 things a day.
Yeah, no, I often tell people that, I have an au pair that helps take care of our kids. And anytime she figures it out, anytime I have her do something, I always tell her, I was like, if you can't Google it and figure it out, then you can ask me. And so now she takes it to heart, because she was like borrowed my car and needed to charge it. It's an electric car. She's like, I didn't know how to open the charger and I didn't want to bug you. So I remember to Google it first. I'm like, good. I'm teaching you how to learn yourself, figure it out. If you can't figure it out, I'm here to help you, but
yes,
you should be able to figure it out yourself.
Exactly. And that's how we have to do it nowadays. We have to be thankful for that. So my mom's probably thankful that she doesn't get 2 a.m. phone calls. So.
Yeah, you get those resources, but at the same point, you want to know what's out there because you might be getting a bias one way or another. Oh, here's how you do it, and it's easy and it's simple. But you also want that information that, hey, you might have problems with it, and it's not easy, and it can take a little bit, and it can be frustrating. It's okay to be upset and tired and cranky, right? You don't get to hear enough of that.
No, exactly. No, there is so much advice and mom stuff that I wish people would have told me, but I also think that there is so much stuff that people told me that I was like, I got this. I don't want to hear your opinion. I know it all. Let's blame half of it on hormones and half of it of my age. But I agree.
Yeah. Cool. So Molly, appreciate you joining me on the show. So your theory is that moms aren't as prepared as they used to be, partly because they don't have their families as close to them to help.
Yeah, you don't have your family as close, and we're not taught basic skills anymore.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think as a whole, I think that's probably an accurate representation of the feelings of a lot of new moms when they have their first kid and like, oh my God, this thing came out. Now what? I don't even know. And
Exactly.
you don't want to trust the doctors too much because they're just trying to put, crank you out of the baby factory.
Exactly. 100%.
Well, Molly, thank you for joining me on another episode of I've Got a Theory. Please like, subscribe, and comment to our show, and let me know if you've got any other good ideas. Thank you for joining me.
Woohoo. Thank you, Henish.
Positive.